Hey guys, how you doing?
This is super. This is how old school usually begins, in the middle of other people's conversations.
Yeah. So old school. Cenk, Uygur, Ben Meg was Ron Perlman all of a sudden. Okay,
yeah, how about
like
that?
This?
How about
What's
that,
up, everybody?
Yeah. He's bringing Hellboy with him. So
I put the boy in Hellboy.
I think
I brought the boy back.
I think
And,
it's supposed to be the other way, Ron.
There was a town in Tennessee.
by the way, I just wanted to point out that I put the oi in Hellboy.
I had a scene. You know, they have Video Village where the director has all the monitors and everything like this, and all the producers have chairs with their names on it. It was like it's very very class nauseating. And I had to do the scene. I mean, I was like 59 years old for Hellboy 1. I had to do the scene where I'm running after a monster, and I have to run past Video Village. And I'm like, I run so slowly that it actually looks like I'm going backwards. It actually looks like somebody's reversed the film.
Yeah.
So I run past Video Village and I see everybody going like this, right? And I'm supposed to be a superhero, right? And as I run by, I say, I thought you said bellboy.
Yeah, very nice.
I didn't see that coming. That was good. Man, we're all getting old. Well, that makes sense. We're on old school, but I played basketball for the first time in a couple of months on Sunday because I'd sprained my ankle because I'm old. And as I was running for the first time, they're like, "Wow, dude, you look like an old man." Mm-hmm. And so that's nothing you could do about it, you know.
Nothing you can do, but you don't look like you're going backwards, though. I got that down.
That's strictly a Ron Perlman thing. I'll give it to you as a trademark.
It's on my resume.
Yeah.
Special skills.
That is amazing that you were 59 when you did the first Hellboy.
I think I'm lying.
Yeah, you got to be lying.
I think I was 50.
You're not lying by much.
I think I was 53 when I did the first one.
Oh, okay.
57 when I did the second.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so you guys know old school. We just talk about nonsense.
And we're well on our way.
Yeah, that's right. We'll talk a little bit about movies. We'll talk a little bit about the news of the day. I know you want to talk about Epstein. We were just mentioning that off here. But let me start classic old school way. Last week, quietly, I decided to make pastrami week. I had this amazing pastrami and egg sandwich, and then I was like, and then I just coincidentally had another pastrami sandwich, and I was like, well, should I do this back to back? And then I was like, no, wait. What if I did do it on purpose and made this pastrami week? And then I went and got the next day, I went and got a hot dog with pastrami on it. Which is, look, let's just be honest, that's a little genius.
It's also a little redundant, but
hey, but if you got a good thing, why not double down?
If you're looking for a heart attack the short way, baby, that's the way to do it.
So by the way,
put some mayonnaise on there, then you're just like.
By the way,
you'll never be able to make a 3-pointer again.
Wrong. I did put mayonnaise on it. I put mayonnaise and mustard, and hence
he needs an intervention.
Well, we're
a little past that.
I mean, we've had 55,000 conversations about food.
Well,
yeah, but my dad quit smoking the same way. He thought he had a terrible sore throat, but he never got sick. 1977, he thought he had throat cancer, right? I mean, he self-diagnosed. He just thought this must be what it is, right? And then he couldn't smoke; it hurt too much. And the next day it was still terrible. And he couldn't smoke again. He went to the doctor. And the doctor's like, "Yeah, you have strep throat. You'll be fine," right? And he was already feeling better by that evening. And then that evening, he's so desperate for smoke. Well, he thought he was desperate to go and smoke. And then he was like, "Well, I haven't smoked in 2 days," and that was it.
And so
four packs a day
let me
to
just
none.
Go one more day.
That's right.
Exactly. I did the same thing, but in reverse. I was like, let me just have another pastrami sandwich.
Did you go all the way through? Did you go through Friday?
I wasn't that vigilant about it, but I had at least 4 pastrami-laden meals, and you know what? At the conclusion of it, I had so many fattening, like salty stuff that my lips, like when you're in the ocean and you get the salt water and your lips get a little cracked and dry inside. That's what happened.
Yeah, but
and you know what I thought?
No.
This is living.
That's right. You thought, right, but you went out, and then you
It's
went.
a lot
You
cheaper than Botox.
you get out of the ocean. You get a hot dog with pastrami on it because you're an American hero.
That's look. I don't want to say I'm a hero. Heroes don't talk about being heroes.
So, Ron, one of my favorite things to do on the show is both to celebrate and complain about the free meals that we get when we come here. You know, as soon as Ron got here, he was like, "There's Chinese food waiting for us, right?" You know, we were like, "Yeah." Well, it's like it's a couple of Jews eting Chinese food. We were both like, "Yeah, it's Christmas, right? It's Christmas night." So sort of there are rules that we have. I mean, they're not like massive. They're not like enforced with any bond henchman. But it says when you make the order, it says don't exceed $20.01. So that means I want to spend $20.01. So I'll just order literally anything to get it as close to that as I possibly can. Stuff I don't like.
The man.
I got 2 orders of fried wontons. I don't like fried wontons, but right. But I gotta get. I mean, I couldn't live with myself if I didn't get over $19. And so, but the reason I got the wontons was because this is a Chinese restaurant, and there were no dumplings on the menu. And my proffer to you fellas is, if you're a Chinese food restaurant and you don't offer dumplings, just forget about it. Go home, close up shop. There's no point. There's no point in being in business.
It's almost like putting pastrami on a hot dog.
Or not putting pastrami on a hot dog, I would count it. So it's so funny you say that, because as I was ordering earlier for the Chinese food, I was like, all right, well, the wontons are $4. First of all, I want to know what $4 wontons are like. There's 10 of them. How do you make 10 of them?
10, they're
for $4?
40 cents each.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I ordered my meal, and the Mongolian beef. I'm like, geez, I'm only up to $12, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I literally thought in my head,
what would
the
that be?
Mankiewicz rule, right? I was like, I gotta push this. So I got egg drop soup on top, right?
You can't.
Got all the way up to like $18.
But how do you not have one? I mean, how do you not have dumplings and call yourself a Chinese food? What's the point? What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to take it up with them, man. And I think that they're gonna be pretty sorry. Okay.
They're sorry already. In fact, I'm a little sorry. I'm sorry that I ordered $45 worth of food and got an email saying, "Sir, would you like to rethink that?" And I go, "What are you talking about?"
So you know that we're really financially healthy here, both physically and financially healthy. And we're like, oh, you went to $21.
Right, easy.
No, Ron, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, all right. So I got a lot more of food. I was trying to get, but I want to get to Epstein in a second. But I was trying to get Mark Thompson to agree with me that pumpkins have the biggest disparity between seed and fruit. Okay, and Mark's a vegan, so I thought he'd really go for it.
Pumpkin is a fruit?
Well, I mean, is it fruit? Is it vegetable? It doesn't really matter. It's a pumpkin. Nobody eats it. But my point is, the pumpkin
It's
seed
an anomaly.
Is it? Yeah, I feel like.
I don't even know what an anomaly is, but
Yeah, well, the distinction
I
between
was
the two.
doing a crossword puzzle earlier. That's how I used to pick up chicks in New York, by the way.
Pretending to do New York Times.
The New York Times crossword puzzle and just fill it in on a bus, and people would kind of go,
Wow, yeah.
"That mother smart."
That is an acquired skill, because I like to think I'm smart, but apparently not. Because when I run into the New York Times crossword, I'm like, oh, that's fascinating. I don't know any of these.
No, I can't do them. Yeah, I can't. My mom was great at it. She would do it. My dad would do it. I mean, like, wouldn't go years between doing it, and then he would do it in like 48 minutes. It didn't interest him enough.
No, like I don't know how many there are in there, but I'd fill in 4, and I'd be like, I think I got those 4. I'm pretty sure they fit. Right?
That's why I do the TV guide crossword puzzle, because
that was easier.
it makes me feel like a
Oh, that is. I used to do USA Today. You know, it would be like, 2 words. Talk show host Larry Key. 2 letters. Yeah. I mean, I got that one. Yeah.
Yeah. TV guide. You remember when there used to be TV guide?
Mm-hmm. My very first. I never ever thought. I thought that customized license plates were like, the lamest mother thing you could do. Right? And then it said, "Beast to Linda Hamilton's beauty," and it was 36 down. And I got a license plate that said 36 down.
That's good.
That's good. That's good. I thought you were gonna go. I thought you were gonna go more obvious with like Hellboy or something. But
No, this is a long
There's
time.
way before that. Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. That's so cool to be in the crossword puzzle. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna get that. No. So that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it'd be like 2 letters. Talk show host Cenk Uygur, and people would be like, I don't know, I can't get it.
Yeah. No. It's impossible.
I can't get it. I
It's
don't know.
totally
I
impossible.
thought his name was Henny. Henny Hugman.
Bob Euchre, something. I remember when I was a teenager.
Nobody got that reference.
Well, Ben would have had a shot, but it's an old school movie reference or
What?
Henny Youngman.
Henny Youngman, yeah.
Oh, Henny Youngman.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Cenk knows Henny Youngman.
yeah, barely. He makes me watch classic movies from time to time. It turns out they're actually not that bad.
You kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
What the would anybody want to like hang out with a black and white thing in their house?
Right? That's what I was telling him.
Easy.
Ben knows what a freak I am for black and white movies. I'll stop in traffic if I see a black and white movie.
You called me just because you'd seen On the Waterfront and you needed to talk about On the Waterfront. Like that's what those movies. Yeah.
Yeah, I had it was my 145th viewing
Right, but you had some interest.
of this movie, and I had an epiphany. I now know what it's about.
Yeah. Did you
And I
feel
don't
bad?
remember what I said to you, but it was really brilliant.
It looks like it needs out. You need to watch
I
it.
said, Ben, sit down. Are you sitting down? I have a theory.
I figured out On the Waterfront. Yeah.
So that's funny because my wife just went to Farewell. Have you seen Farewell yet? Have either one of you seen
No.
it? So first, it's a movie about middle-class Chinese folks. The grandmother has cancer. I'm gonna spoil the beans here. So if you're gonna see Farewell, okay, fine, don't watch the rest. But don't worry about it, just watch, okay? So the grandmother has cancer, so all the family that's in America then goes back to Taiwan or China or wherever. I didn't say my wife did. Anyway, so and so it's a moving story about this family, etc. Now there's the story of the epiphany at the end. That's why I remembered of it. Before though, Wendy's like, Chinese people aren't gonna like this movie. She's Chinese, and I said, why? She's like, it portrays Chinese as like poor and middle class. She's like, it's like
You
realistic.
sound like Joe Biden now.
She goes, it's like real. It's too realistic.
Yeah, she's like, it's like real life. I'm like, babes,
That's
this
what.
is what good movies kind of do, right? And she's like, yeah, no, I know, but Chinese people aren't gonna like it.
No one was wearing spandex. I don't even know why they made that thing.
She's like, look, and then it was like a normal part of Taiwan or China or whatever. Like it wasn't even the good neighborhood. I know. That's why she's like, it's the kind of movie that critics would like. I'm like, you mean like a good one?
Right. That's right.
Anyway, so at the end, this is what my daughter would say is spoiling the beans. She's 6 years old.
No excuse.
So they come back and the main character is back in the States, and there's like a scene of a smiling grandma, and then the main character goes like, "Oh my God!" And so I haven't seen the movie at all, but I love movies.
You just saw the ending?
No, she just told me the ending,
Oh,
right?
okay.
That's all that happens is you see a grandmother and somebody says,
No,
"Oh."
like at the end, she's just grandma's stage 4 cancer. Oh, but they wouldn't tell the grandma, they say, right? Because in Chinese culture, you're not supposed to tell the grandmother, which I think maybe you got to rethink that a little bit. She might want to know it's her last days. I know some cultures, Turkish culture, they also are like, you don't want to tell them. I want to know, are you nuts? If I got 4 days to live or 4 weeks to live, of course I want to know. But anyways, I love movies so much that I know what's gonna happen next, etc. So I'm like, so babes, so the grandmother was faking the cancer, right? To get all her family to come in. She's like, she's like, oh my God, that was the point. She's like, oh, that was good.
This changes everything.
So I had a.
I'm gonna try that next Thanksgiving. Hello, kids. Listen, you better come get the turkey because I got 4 days.
Well, some cultures would do that. Some cultures would. So anyway, so you got on the 145th watching. Did you feel afterwards a little bad that it took you 145 viewings to get the epiphany?
Not really.
No.
I'm so well medicated, Cenk. I never feel bad about anything.
So,
do you remember the epiphany that I had then?
I don't. I mean, I loved the conversation.
It must have been really exciting for both of us.
Must have been really good.
I have epiphanies when I'm high. Were you high at all, Ron, when you had that epiphany or no? Because then I forget them, and that's the problem.
I was in the gym working out with my trainer. And we're always talking about old movies. He's an ex-actor and completely erudite guy, and we have.
Oh, you talked about him. Like that was related to it. You talked to.
I said, I told you that
right.
I was giving you the backdrop of it, and it had to do with. I got nothing.
Go.
All right, let's watch it together. Let's watch it together one day, and then.
Have you seen On the Waterfront? No, not yet.
No. But Ron and I have a great average on that movie.
That's right. Together, you've seen it 72 and a half times. That's right.
That's how I'm going to frame it from now on. Oh my God, Ron and I have average
really
watching that. Yeah,
That's what I'm good at. My daughter, who's also 6 now, knows that I can add numbers up really quickly, and so she'll be like 5 and 6, 11. She's like, unbelievable. 20 plus 20, 40. Oh my God, Mom, this guy's unbelievable.
Who gave him the questions?
This guy's unreal.
Somebody gave him the questions.
Yeah.
It's like quiz show all over again.
Yeah.
See, I watch movies. Okay, so I do that with my kids. I told this just in the post game a couple of days ago. When they were 2 and 4, we went to Hawaii for the first time, and we got an Airbnb, and there's only 1 bedroom, and they're like, "Where are we gonna stay?" And I was like, "Ah, God damn it, guys! You know, I got to try magic here because there's no space for you guys. So I got to try." So first, I go up on the cabinet and the drawers, and I bang on it a little bit. And I go, "Shazam, shabam!" And I open up the doors, and there's nothing, and they're like.
Right.
Dad, I mean, what? This is awful. What are you doing, right? I'm like, oh, guys, see me one more chance. And I go on the couch and I go, Shazam, shabam, Shazam, shabam. And then I take off the things and I pull out the bed that's obviously in the couch, right? And they're like, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah, by the way, I just want to point out Cenk's son is 17.
I was going to say 38.
That's why you have kids, so you could do pedestrian tricks on them and have them be amazed.
Have them be dazzled. That's right.
All right, Epstein, what do you think? Guilty or not guilty? Dead or not dead?
I think he's dead.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, my first tweet, and I happened to go on Twitter as the news was breaking, so it was like,
yeah,
he just died a minute ago.
Yeah.
And my tweet was Vlad.
Oh yeah, so you're in the Scarborough camp. Yeah, Joe Scarborough.
Is that what he said?
Yeah,
too?
yeah. And then he took some.
It was definitely that style of a thing. I mean, you know, and I've been wondering for a long time now when that modality was going to visit the United States, because in every other respect we're there. We're there. Except for the fact that nobody's tried actually murdering their political enemies in public yet, while the world is watching, and then being completely stone-faced, unapologetic about it. And you know, I was wondering what took us so long, but that's my gut instinct. I haven't seen anything since then that would sway me otherwise. What do you think?
I think the way it's covered is interesting. You know, already we've moved into the part where we're just sort of, you know, what seems to me, what should be the 15th day story, the 30th day story about why weren't we bothered by the conditions at the MCC before, right? Like we still have these huge, giant unanswered questions about how he died. There was a New York Daily News report that they were shrieking in the cell, right?
Yeah, right? That was weird.
Maybe.
By the way, that might have been the time to go check the cell.
Right. Yeah. Right. But I mean,
well, the guys who were supposed to check it out were in Cancun.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Or Moscow, either way.
But. You know, there is nothing that would make my jaw drop. There is no turn of events where I go, I can't believe it, to sort of. But as always with these stories, you know, Cenk, you've heard me talk about this thousands of times, that first of all, none of this answers how he died. Like, what did he do? If there was nobody else, what did he do? What was the method of suicide? Which is why I think it's weird that they were already so deep in the weeds on the second and third and fourth and eighth and 15th story. But nothing would surprise me. But incompetence and understaffing and just the full panoply of incompetence, to me, is mostly the answer to these questions. Now, that said, that may have enabled the nefarious part to happen, because it's clearly incompetence caused, I guess, by massive understaffing and overwork.
My theory is that there's a guy that works at the jail, maybe the warden or something, that loves conspiracy theories, and he's like, how can I launch 1,000 of them?
Right, at once.
At once, yeah. Right? Because if you wanted to set up a conspiracy theory, you would take a guy who has information on the most powerful people on earth, that runs a child sex ring, that has perhaps tried suicide before. Then you would, on a Friday, remove his one cellmate, and then you would say, hey, you know what? Let me take him from half an hour watch to 2 to 3 hour watch that when we check in on him. And then I'll put my 2 most overworked workers on that watch, right? And then see what happens.
Right, yeah.
Right? Because if he commits suicide, and it is of course entirely possible that it was incompetence, and he did commit, but it would literally be historic incompetence.
That's right.
It makes history, because if it's not true, the conspiracy theories will never stop, never. I mean, immediately, I'm gonna go back to my wife. My wife knew about it instantly, and she doesn't follow the news that much. She's originally from Taiwan, came over when she was 23 years old, so she follows Chinese news more than she follows day to day here, right? And she's like, she comes to me on day one, she's like, you heard about the guy they murdered.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, well, we don't know that yet, but yeah, there was that mysterious thing. And she's like, I heard the tapes are missing. I'm like, no, that's not actually true. Yeah. But in China, it is.
Right.
Because if you wanted to launch a conspiracy, you would do all of these things at once to make it the most questionable suicide in maybe literally American history. Like, it's a perfect recipe for that. So both things are entirely possible.
The good news is, for all of us though, and legitimately, is that William Barr is on it.
Oh, okay.
And
dodge the bullet on that one.
He said that he's gonna. He seemed, I thought, pretty outraged, and he promised that the investigation into his crimes will continue too. Don't rest easy. If you were a co-conspirator, we're coming. So. Yeah, that's a relief. Thank goodness. Yeah. It's that great line from from Chevy Chase in Fletch, when Joe Don Baker, as the police chief, shows up and he knows they're either going to kill him or beat the crap out of him, and he goes, "Oh, thank God, the police." Yeah.
Well, so look, they haven't actually declared it a suicide yet. So
right. And what was that shrieking? I mean, is that where's that from? I mean, I get it. This is an incredibly difficult story to report, because you don't even have to close ranks. The ranks are literally closed. Like, who are you calling? Where is the access to information from reporters? Which is why we haven't gotten all this stuff, and there's going to be an autopsy. But I don't know when this information comes, but I can already see sort of the redirect to other stories. Amazingly, this is this prison, so I heard a defense lawyer today who's represented a number of big time criminals who've been at the MCC, and he says regularly his clients will have been at Rikers, and then they get transferred to the MCC for whatever reason, maybe prior to a court date, or because Rikers got overcrowded and they moved him there. And though he said routinely, his clients ask that he move things around so that they can be sent back to Rikers.
Wow, MCC's that bad.
That it's that bad that they would rather be at Rikers. That said, when you talk about like the security's bad, like the World Trade Center bombers were there. El Chapo was there. It's not like they haven't had Bernie Madoff was there. They've had some.
None of them committed suicide.
They've had some notorious prisoners there. Yeah.
Interesting. So look, I can't get tired of these because these are Cenk-like predictions, and I'm kind of a little bit proud of them. But more important than that is how telling and obvious it was. So one of our hosts, Hassan Piker, who's also my nephew, tweeted on not after the death, but before the death, on July 25th. So a couple of weeks before the deaths. He said, "So we're all in agreement that we think someone's going to kill Epstein before he gives up names, right?" And the day after there's a huge headline about all the big names that Epstein might know, boom, he dies. Again, if you were building a perfect conspiracy or a thing to launch 1,000 conspiracy theories, this is all what you would do. Then Hassan tweets, same day, July 25th, "Any president that doesn't put Epstein under 24/7 surveillance in solitary confinement right now is also responsible for him getting assassinated."
Well, I'm just glad that Haas was right, and that finally that kid will have a little confidence now. This might make him feel like he knows something.
He's the most overconfident guy you'll ever
most
meet.
overconfident person in the history of the world.
And that's not going to help. Those tweets are not going to help. But no, the point being that how incompetent do you have to be? Like, this is the one guy that the whole world knows you got to keep alive, right? And if you believe the whole story, he tried to commit suicide 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Imagine if he had succeeded and how much everyone would blame you and never believe you. And yet you do all of this.
Yeah, and so many people had the psychologists, people had to sign off and taking him off suicide watch. It doesn't seem like a prisoner facing 66-year-old man looking at life in prison and no bail. And unable to use his Saudi passport under another name, or the 50 loose diamonds.
What I would have loved is Dershowitz trying to defend that in court.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
No, I mean, who doesn't have a Saudi passport under an assumed name with 50 loose diamonds?
I got one on me.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're going to do something nefarious,
but I do have the diamonds.
Oh, you do? Well,
I think it was 70 loose diamonds, $50,000 in cash, and a Saudi passport and another name, and he has 3 jets. Yeah, that's it.
He originally had a passport from Norway, and they're like, nah, not nefarious enough.
Right.
Yeah. He's like, how about Myanmar? Saudi Arabia, there you go. Okay.
I don't know whether the lawyers actually argued this at the bail hearing, but I heard somewhere, but you never know whether I read it. That they argued that passport had never been used, and then the government was like, it's stamped.
And second of all, that's not the goddamn point.
Right, that's
the
really
point is when you're doing the getaway is when you would use that.
Right.
So saying, oh, sir, he had not been caught again for child molestation.
Had expired. Right. Yeah.
Right. World's worst offense. So my last thought on it, I think, is that there's got to be tape of the hallway. I get that there's no tape of the cell. That seems like it would be an invasion of privacy. I don't think even the prisons are taping the cells. Although, if you were going to tape the cell, the one cell you would tape is Jeffrey Epstein's, right?
Anybody who's an MCC.
How do you remove a suicide watch on someone who you think tried to commit suicide, and as I said, and was looking at life in prison?
The night before it happened, all this new.
Right, the release of the.
That's the time you double down on the
lawsuit,
suicide watch, right?
Yeah. So, but even if you don't have it of the cell, and I get that, and they say that it doesn't exist, although it should have in his case at least. But anyway, the hallway, and so that if you tell me the tapes are out in the hallway, that's it, guilty. They definitely killed him. I'm not even having a conversation. If you show me the hallway and it's real and it can be double, quadruple confirmed, I don't know how you would do that, and no one enters the cell. Okay, right? All right, then we're having a conversation. If you show me the hallway and someone enters the cell, well, then we also have our answer.
Yeah, but
yeah, but and who knows? Maybe they, anyway.
Let's say there's tape. How can you guarantee me that the tape that actually was rolling at the time is the tape that's going to be shared with the public?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Can I plug a movie that I'm about to come out?
You can do anything you want on this show.
So I just did a 6-episode miniseries for the BBC, which really felt great that an American finally got to take an English guy's.
About time. Jesus.
Yeah. I don't sound angry, do I? But anyway, the thing is called The Capture, and basically the UK is the most surveilled place on the planet. They have these things called CCTV cameras, and they're everywhere. And the point of the show is that you can juxtapose images, make people look like they were someplace they weren't,
Right.
make people not look like someplace they were, and in the name of protecting us from the evils that are out there, which is all about like where are the lines and when do they cross, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you know, I mean, come on, you know, even if there's cameras in the cell, that's not going to be what we see.
Yeah. So there's now deep fake porn. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. Okay.
Heard of it? I just had some in the car, along with my Chinese food.
He just said
which, by the way, not one dumpling.
Not one. Who does that?
Not a dumpling.
Yeah. In addition to shooting 8 episodes of a BBC series, Ron is
6. It was 6.
Excuse me. Yeah.
6.
Okay, so you two, we gotta let you guys go. tyt.com/join to become a member, get the whole old school, or you can watch listen to the podcast. Just type in old school, TYT old school, anywhere you get a podcast. All right, thanks for watching this free clip of old school. Don't forget to become a TYT member today for the rest of the show and for more exclusive content throughout the network. Join now at tyt.com/join.
We found television's best kept secret. A public